Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say something. I'm a little bit pleasantly surprised, specifically when it comes to the new Warzone map, Haven's Hollow. Now, if you don't know the history of Warzone maps, this one is made by High Moon Studios, who I believe made Ashika Island and Fortune's Keep. And if you know those maps, they're filled with Easter eggs. Well, it turns out Haven Hollow is no exception whatsoever. And in fact, there's even an Easter egg where you transformed the entire map into something new. In this video, I have put together every single one of those Easter eggs. There's kind of 8, but more so 6 mainline Easter eggs, and I'm going to show you how to do all 8 of them, even the little tiny ones that you may have missed. And if I missed anything on this list, feel free to let me know down in the comments. But I think in this, we've covered all of the basis of all of the Easter eggs that are in Haven's Hollow. And some of them are really wild, so we're going to start out with the easiest ones and work our way to the hardest one, which is, of course, changing that entire map, the Blood Moon Easter egg, if you will. So let's start out with the very beginning, the super easy one. So the simple of the simplest all start out on the riverboat, aka the floating casino. Now, when you go to this, you're going to see a ton of slot machines, but one in particular is named Call of Duty. Now, with this one, you can insert $500 into it, and you're actually able to win a jackpot all the way up to $20,000. But most of the time, you just win kind of like $250. It kind of works like an actual slot machine, and you can keep playing it over and over again. So if your team lands here, it might actually be worth one person just rolling this thing over and over and over again, going for that jackpot, so that hopefully you can maybe buy a loadout or something along those lines. But that's not the only thing here. So if you start out in that casino and you work your way up to the upper deck of the boat, you are going to find a stage. Now, on that stage, there is a drum set that you can go up to, and on it, there is a note. And on that note, it says, "I'm warning you, John, for the last time, do not touch my drum set." Now, if you don't know what that is, let me quickly teach you some culture.
I am warning you right now, if you touch my drums, I will stab you in the neck with a knife.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is a Step Brothers reference, one of the greatest movies of all time. Now, moving on to something a little bit more complex. Over at Lumberyard, there is a couple of blue doors on kind of the upper deck of the Lumberyard that are both locked, and there's no key to get in them or anything, but it's actually rather easy to do so. And inside of each of them, there's some pretty good loot. And all you need is a couple of tomahawks that can be found in the wall or around the area in Lumberyard, as well as a couple explosives. So first things first, what you're going to do is take those explosives and you're going to blow the wood off the side windows. Then you are going to need 2 tomahawks for each room, which, by the way, the best way to do so is simply get an ammo crate. And then you're going to throw the tomahawks at those wooden boards locking the doors. Now, if you do it quickly, you're going to be able to get both of your tomahawks back, and you might even find one in the room as well. So what I recommend doing is blowing up both of the walls first and then doing the tomahawks, because then you can use the same tomahawks to access the same rooms. Now, the basic best item that you're going to find in these 2 rooms is in the second room that we go in here. There's going to be a plate vest, and that's kind of the best of the best here. Now, moving on to the next Easter egg, this is where we start to get some items like calling cards and that, as well as some pretty good items in game. Now, this is probably the one that you've seen on TikTok or YouTube Shorts, and that is the Waterfall. So off the rip, you're going to go to the north. Now, in the north, there is a waterfall, and you can actually parachute directly through it into a kind of loot room. There's some pretty good chests, but at the very back, there is also a treasure map. Now, this is going to show you an area on the map, and this is different every single game. So you need to actually check the treasure map in order to do the next part. I just happen to know that that bridge right there is over in Pond, so I went directly over to Pond. Now, after you've got the treasure map and you go to the area that is X'd on the map, you will see a prompt on your screen to dig, and when you do, you can kind of capture the area. It is going to give you $20,000 as well as a calling card called the Waterfall Cave. And your team then can go and get some loadouts or whatever you need with that. Now, while you're in this area, there's also another Easter egg near Pond, and this one is going to give you the Specialist, and this is the Jackalope Easter egg. Now, for this one, what you're going to do is you're going to go around the pond area, specifically around the shore, until you find a very speedy little rabbit. Now, when you shoot it, it'll shoot out loot at you, one of which is going to be a mounted jackalope head. What you're going to do is take this this a little bit further north to the hunting cabin. Now, honestly, the cabin is really not far from where you will find the jackalope, so this one is not hard whatsoever, and it's one of the best rewards that you can get. So once in here, you're going to want to clear out the enemies that are around the area, and back actually right behind where I am right now, there is going to be a fireplace, and above that fireplace, there is an empty slot to put the jackalope head, and when you do, you will hear the chimney, and out the bottom will shoot the specialist. There'll be 2 that come down if you're in a team of 4. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit more difficult, but some cooler things actually start to happen. So number 1 here, you're going to go to the security room outside of research lab. Now, in this, there's going to be a bunch of computers. Specifically, you are going to go to the terminal room, which is right in the middle, and look for a set of glowing lights. You will see 2 green and 1 red. These represent computers that will be on in the area. You want to go to the one that is red. So specifically, this one, you're going to want to go to the one on the furthest right on the 2nd floor of the building. Now, if the computer goes red, you will know it's done wrong and it will reset and you have to go check those lights that are on. But as you'll see, the lights have moved there. And now the next red light is the one to the left of the one that we just turned on, once again on the 2nd floor. And again, all of these Easter eggs are going to be easier to do on casual mode, especially when we get to the more advanced one. So we go and we see the other computer that's on. And again, it says cleaning. As long as it says cleaning and doesn't turn red, you are doing the right thing. And then the final one's on the furthest right on the bottom floor, and again it says cleaning. Now you'll know you have done this right when all of the computers in the building turn on, and where you're going to want to go from here is into the little security room right behind me. You go up to the desk and it says generate code, and these 6 screens will pop up with 6 numbers. Write them down, remember them, whatever you want to do, and then you're going to want to go across the entirety of the parking lot, and there is a small building on the other side. Now when you go in here, you're immediately going to see a keypad which needs a 6-digit code. You put the code in the exact order that it appeared on screen as it popped up on the terminals, going from top left all the way down to bottom right. Once you put that code in, you now have access to the jail cell, and inside there, you're going to find yourself an advanced UAV. Also, as you saw there, you're going to get a calling card called the security booth, which for most of the Easter eggs that we're going to do here, you get a little reward like that. But as of right now, still no blueprint, but some pretty cool stuff upcoming. Now, moving to the next one, again, getting a little bit more difficult. I actually do think this one's kind of easy, though. This one's going to start at Mansion, and it has to do with mice. So what you are seeing here is a little piece of paper that can be found, and the first person to find these Easter eggs is Geeky Pastimes. We've worked with him before on Easter eggs, things along those lines. So that is where this screenshot here that you are seeing came from. Now, you don't actually need this piece of paper, but what you need to know is the musical notes that are on it. E, C, and D. And this doesn't change every game. This is the same every single game, so you don't actually need to find this piece of paper. However, what you do need to find is if you know where the elevator was in the zombies map that was here, you go there and you find a little power terminal, and on that there is going to be a fuse that you can take out of it. Now, I recommend right away running to the front of the mansion, going outside, going inside this little shed and putting the fuse that you just got into the fuse box that is here. Because if you die holding any items during these, it will drop on the ground and someone could take it, and then the Easter egg is pretty much ruined. So this is the only part you need something like that for. So you might as well just go put it in there right away, and then that part is done. And when you do this, you will notice that out front of it, there's going to be pads of stones that when you stand on them, a musical note pops up in the middle and plays a musical note. Now, it's not going to work yet. So the next thing that you're looking for is a slice of cheese inside the mansion, as you see there. When you see a slice of cheese, you're going to look around it for a mousetrap, and you're going to shoot the mousetrap. Now, you have to do this 3 times. Now, I would show you where all of the cheeses are, but honestly, they're just incredibly easy to find. They're bright yellow, and you just kind of look around the 1st and 2nd floor of the main entrance of the building. You will find some. I believe more than 3 actually spawn a game, but it won't take you too long to find them whatsoever. I literally was just running around, found them, found the mousetrap, shot them, and you'll know you have gotten 3 of them and done it right when you hear this sound. So once you have done that, you are going to go back out front, and now it is time to put in the musical code. And that musical code is E, D, and C. Now there's going to be two C's, C8 and C. You just want C. So again, E, D, C. And when you do so, this will happen.
Yeah, you gotta buy me back.
Now, after the mice explode, go downstairs and you will find a secret laboratory. Now, honestly, there's not much there. There's some perks, there is some chests, there's a cool interrogation room, and there's a little bit of lore. So the note that you find says this: stupid, filthy creatures, but very useful. They can survive exposure to element for only a few minutes, then kaboom. They explode into the most colorful mist of fur and bones. If I can get them to survive, then perhaps humanity has a chance. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but clearly they are doing some mouse or I guess rat testing. Now, the only other thing that this room has that is kind of interesting is there's a button that you can press that for a limited amount of time will actually protect you from the gas. So as you can see, I push the button and then it kind of creates a safe zone around me for a limited amount of time. Now, everyone on the map will see that I'm there as it shows it for them on the map as well, but just kind of a neat little room. But this isn't the coolest nor the hardest Easter egg. So for this last one, you are definitely going to want to be in casuals. If you have a team, it is much easier. I did it with randoms, so it is possible to do it that way. But there's a couple things that you need to know that are going to make this a lot easier. Now, where this stems from is a map that is found in Research Facility, which again, Geeky Pastimes found. Here's the good thing though, you do not need this map whatsoever. And in fact, I think this map actually makes this Easter egg more confusing. So I am going to show you the way that I would recommend doing this Easter egg, but you can do it in any order. So the way that I would recommend is starting out by going to the roof of mansion. So once you are here, you're going to need a psych grenade or psychedelic grenade, whatever you want to call it. There's a couple areas where they can be found on the ground. One is right there where I just looked. The other of which can be found right there on the ground in the main room. Now, once you are here, there is a gramophone that is right behind me. You are going to interact with that. When you do so, you are then going to throw the psych grenade. It's going to cause you to trip out. Then you can interact with the mirror. Then you're going to get a jump scare, followed up by a note that you can see there. You don't need the note whatsoever, but then you're going to see symbols floating in the air. This one that you're seeing here represents rock. The one on the ground here represents blood. And the final one that you're going to see here is going to represent bone. You're going to want to write down or remember those symbols. Just say what they look like. I said fishing hook, lambda. Another one looked like a martini glass, things along those lines. Now you're going to need to get the individual items. So the first of which can be found over at the pond here. Now in each area, there are 3 spots where it can be found, but as you can see, the animal bones are the first one, again, representing the bones that we saw before. So this is the first of the 3 spots, all of which are at pond though. The second spot is right behind me here underneath this thing. This is a separate game, by the way. And then the third of which can be found a little bit further in the water. There's a little shed there underneath the little deck coming off of that shed. That is the final of the 3 spots at pond to find the animal bones. The next can be found at the research lab. So this one, you're going to go to the top floor, the 3rd floor. You enter from the roof is the easiest way to get there. And you're looking for a centrifuge that is open. When you get to it, melee it, and a blood vial will pop out. The 3 potential areas that they can be found is here, 2 in kind of connecting rooms, and then the 3rd off in the office, which is where I happen to find it in this game. The last one can be found in the coal depot. Now, what you're actually looking for here is a hard hat. Now, where mine was supposed to spawn in this game is underneath this hard hat. When you melee it, it's supposed to pop out here. Unfortunately, it didn't this game, but what that did was allow me to show you the other 2 locations where it could potentially spawn. The other of which is down below here. After I kill this person, I will make my way. You can see the hard hat is flipped up the other way right there, which means you can't melee it, and obviously it didn't spawn there. There's also one other location, which is across over this way, underneath the roof here on the right. You can see it laying on the ground. Those are the 3 hard hats. When it's upside down and you can melee it and flip it over, it's supposed to spawn in. It just didn't this game. So let's go to the game where I've actually found all 3. Next, you'll work your way to the barn. So now we need to start the ritual, and to do so, you work your way to the barn where you'll see blood pile up on the ground and you'll see a bunch of symbols. You have to place the right item on the right symbol, and they essentially go in the order that you pick them up, but that's again why you write down which logos go with which item so that you can place them down in the correct order. When you do, a sword will spawn in. You now need to get 5 kills in the circle that you are seeing on the minimap there. Now, if you are holding the sword, you cannot plate up, nor can you shoot a weapon. You can only use the melee weapon. But the good news is anyone in this circle gets any kills, it counts towards the ritual. However, if someone comes and kills you, they can pick up the sword, and after 5 kills have happened, they can complete the ritual. And in fact, the first time that I did this, the time that you are watching right here, that is exactly what happened. And I tried to fly back in and stop the person and take the sword back, but I couldn't quite do it in time. Now, here's the downside. If someone else in your lobby steals it from you and does it, you don't get the calling card. So I had to do it again. Fortunately, the second time we did it, I was able to complete the ritual and of course get the calling card as well. So after you do it, for a brief period of time, your screen goes black, the entirety of the map changes for everyone, and then a couple of seconds later, screen goes black again and goes back to normal. I think this would be way cooler if the map stayed like this until the end of the game. And in fact, I hope that that's what they change with this moving forward. Again, no blueprint's been given out. However, you do get a bunch of calling cards, weapon charms, things along those lines. And as of right now, that is every single Easter egg on Haven's Hollow. If it helped you out, helped you get them done, be sure to hit the like rating, subscribe, turn notifications on. If your friends need help or you need to show them how to do it, be sure to send them this video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.
We are